You're listening to the Mark Bradford Podcast.
Can being really positive be as bad as being really negative? Yup. Hey there. You're a positive person, right? You know to be positive. You know not to constantly be thinking negative thoughts. We've all heard that, you should manifest things with positivity. I even addressed what I thought about that in a podcast, the one that says just be positive, not. So on one end of the scale, there are people who are really, really Debbie Downers. People who whip out this giant victim card, right? And say nothing works in their life and, oh, this person's only going to hurt them. And you know that. I mean, you've probably talked to somebody when you're going through like the checkout lane or something like that, in which you kind of encounter someone, they tell you something negative, which kind of surprises you because you don't know them. And then they go on to tell you a bit more and you think, well, I'm kind of seeing a trend here. So like, what did you do to fix that, right? I don't think most people are like that, but we know not to be like that. So what we are told by motivational individuals and thought leaders and all those other people is that we should really, really think happy thoughts and that we should manifest all this stuff with our happy thoughts. And that in being negative, you are bringing negative vibrations and things into your life and so forth. I want to talk about that. If all you do is think negative thoughts and think that's not going to work out and, oh, woe is me and all that stuff, then yes, you shove yourself down into a little pit and you never ever climb out and you never even look up. So though it's really a bad idea to think thoughts like that constantly, I want to suggest to you that it's equally as dangerous to think constant positive thoughts. And what I mean by that is, just like the person blindly thinking negative thoughts all the time, I think it's equally as dangerous to blindly think positive thoughts. And the operative word there is blindly. Why? Because you're ignoring all the input. You're ignoring all the data and the surroundings and the perception of actual reality. Think about it. If you're presented with something that seems like it's not going to work, and you say, I don't think that's going to work. You're not being negative, you're just being critical. And critical thought, I think, trumps positive and negative thinking. If you're used to making your noodles and you know that 12, 13 minutes gives you just right al dente, and you go ahead and you buy these magic noodles that are cooked in 30 seconds. When you buy the noodles, you're taking a little leap of faith. And when you put them in and you say to yourself, there ain't no way this is going to work. This is not going to work. Are you being negative? Or are you just being critical? Are you just being thoughtful and realistic? There's a difference between being pragmatic and being a Debbie Downer. And if the noodles cook, great. You've learned something and you're not going to say it again. You'll buy the noodles again and say, yeah, sure, these things cook in 30 minutes. I should probably read the ingredients and make sure there's no evil chemicals in there. But still, it worked and you're not going to do it again. So what I'm taking exception with is constant blindly positive thought. And like I said, I think it's just as dangerous as constant blindly negative thought. And when you're in the presence of someone who is constantly positive, because when you're having a conversation, rather than say something constructive to the conversation, and I don't mean something positive, they say something overall positive. Well, it'll all work out. Well, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And you ask them how they're doing. Oh, things are fine, da-da-da. You never really get to the root of anything. You never really get to exchange something fairly intimate so that you can communicate with them and get to know them. And as I say in the status game too, you don't get to be vulnerable. And you can never be vulnerable with somebody if you're going to be constantly up. I know a few people that I meet up with, get together with, talk to, that are like that. They're constantly up. And although some of that positivity is nice, it's always nice to see their smile, it would be nice for them to say, yeah, this thing doesn't work out. This thing sucks. Why? Is it because I want to see someone suffer? Well, of course not. It's because I want to know that people are human. It's because if I run into a problem, I don't want to feel uniquely sad. I don't want to feel like a unique failure, like, wow, these other positive people in my life never had that problem. And I think that's when public speakers make the biggest impact, is when they tell you about the crap they've gone through and what they did about it and how it might have been a struggle. And, oh, by the way, can I have $1,000? No, but you know what I mean, that you need to hear that other people go through things that you go through. So that's one of the positives of just being conversationally normal and critical versus being super blindly positive. And another thing is that you need to be in touch with how you feel. And how you feel is reflective of how you're dealing with life. It's reflective of what you're dealing with. It's reflective of what life's doing to you. If you just blindly put on a happy face, you're going to run into some problems. You're going to run into some issues in which it's all going to just hit you all at once. You're going to have that mythical collapse, that nervous breakdown out of nowhere at dinner, at a bus stop, in your car, in which you just couldn't take it anymore, and you drive off the road or you drive to a different state and you don't know what to do because your brain simply can't do it anymore. And when you compartmentalize feelings like that in your brain, you are headed for some pretty bad stuff. So, as Shakespeare says, and this above all else, to thine own self be true. I don't think you can be true to yourself if you just put on your happy face and you're constantly happy. Again, some might think I'm splitting hairs. I'm in dangerous territory here, but that's where I go all the time. I like to challenge the common wisdom of, oh, you should do this and be happy and get the vibrations going and this and this. No, you should be positive. You should look towards the positive stuff. You should move towards the light. Yes, I agree with all that stuff. You should try to take a positive path. And a lot of times there's the negative response and the positive response. And a lot of times after the scenario is over, you look back and go, man, I'm glad I didn't get upset. Man, I'm glad my judgment wasn't clouded by anger. Sure. Or I'm glad I wasn't a victim anymore and I decided that I was going to do that for myself. That's awesome. I'm just talking about the blind positivity, just like the blind negativity. As I'm sure you agree, if we all just took personal responsibility for everything happening, there wouldn't be a lot of problems. There'd be a lot less conflict with people because they'd be busy handling their own stuff to put their hands into your stuff. And they'd also have a bit of empathy to go, well, I was going to force you to do that thing, but you know what? I had someone force me to do that thing, and I'm not happy about that. So I get it. I would also, as I did in that podcast about positivity, I would also challenge those who say, well, thinking positive thoughts makes the universe return positive thoughts to you. And as I outlined in there in detail, no, it doesn't. I don't think it worked that way. I think it works the way that taking positive actions moves you towards a positive direction. There's a very distinct cause and effect. The same can be said for negative. There's a cause and effect for doing negative things. I mean, obviously moping around at home all the time, not smiling is not going to get you to meet new people. Stay home, be upset, cause. Don't meet new people, effect. Logic. So if I'm lucky enough to have reached somebody who's super, super, super positive, and you are self-aware enough that while I'm telling you this, you think, oh, that's me. My advice to you is just increase your awareness and perhaps decrease the blind positivity, because it's going to feel a lot better when you truly are positive. And when you tell someone that they're a rock star and you tell someone that you had an awesome time and everything was fantastic, maybe people like me will be more apt to believe you. Because if everything is awesome, then nothing's awesome. And as an added bonus, you don't have to feel bad about feeling bad, because you're allowed to do that, which is actually a nice feeling. Once in a while, when you just feel bad and you kind of recharge your batteries, you're like, yeah, I'm having a crappy day. Oh, okay, no big deal. Tomorrow will be better. So, on that note, I hope today was good, and I hope tomorrow will be better. Thanks. Hey, it's me. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you coming back. Check me out on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm always interested in your feedback. I really look forward to it. So let me know what you think. Thank you. Oh yeah, check out the status game too. You might like it.